Welcome everyone to the first ever Incredicast podcast halftime show here with Dr. Reliant D. Say hello to everyone.
Hi.
Anyways, but the halftime
show P1.
Yeah. The halftime show is going to be where we talk about the episodes between the two Bristols. So like there's going to be a halftime, not a halftime show. I don't know what the heck we're going to call that one. Like it's the race that we have an off weekend after Bristol, and then the races between then and this one will be what we talk about in this one. So anyways, if that makes sense. It's basically talk about the middle races. But since we didn't I need to take my phone away from doing this.
Hey, come on, man.
Yeah.
Man, we can't do nothing. Nah, but yeah, should be cool. Because usually we have these podcasts and we don't really have like an in between time, like when we talk about the other podcasts. So.
Which we're just kind of giving some time for people to come in, because this is like where we'll get to be interactive with our viewers if we have any. So
that's a good question, if we do or not.
Yeah, so yeah, we started off this podcast this season with we didn't go from Daytona 500 all the way to Sonoma. We started from the Coke 0400 to now, and so
I wouldn't even call this season 1. I'd call this
the pre-seasons.
Yeah, either like preseason or maybe season 0.
Yeah, season 0 sounds cool.
Yeah, because like our first episode of the Incredicast podcast was horrid.
Yeah,
we didn't. It was so unorganized. We didn't have a clue what we were. Really doing. It felt weird on Discord. So
I got some analytics from those videos. So our first podcast, Daytona, got 25 views. It got 2 comments, which is basically just one person saying where they found Kyle Petty, so they're locked in to win the shirt. Average view duration though is 0.02.
Wow.
They stayed for literally 2 seconds and clicked off. The average ones. The average.
What you're saying is all the views was like a misclick.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't want this. And
so either someone's cheating to help the channel, or 25 people just said "oops."
Yeah, probably a little bit of both.
Whoever you are, we will find you. And we will tase you.
Even if you just misclicked, we're going to come tase you.
Yeah.
No, man, I just wanted to watch the race. No. All right, so podcast number 2, Kentucky, which is when we did twice because we messed up the first time.
Oh, yeah.
It got a little bit less views. It had 16 views, 0 comments. Average view duration is 1 minute and 25 seconds. So that seems legit.
Yeah.
Out of a 15-minute long, everyone stays for a minute and leaves. So, yeah, I really hope we get that up. Because, I mean, that's just an intro, so maybe we need to do something different about our intros.
Yeah. Who knows?
Since nobody's going to tell us anything, we have to go through this. So podcast number 3 in New Hampshire, it had a little bit more views than Kentucky with 18. No comments still, and an average view duration of 40 seconds. So that went back down.
That's not too bad, but still.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I mean, they stayed and saw that we were garbage and left. But, I mean, hey. Better than 0.2.
So podcast number 4, The Brickyard. It had 16 views. It had 0 comments. The only comment is me saying when the actual podcast starts, because some reason it had this issue where there's like a 10-minute silence. View duration, though, is a minute. So.
Wow.
That could also be people just wanting to see what our picks are. I don't know.
Yeah, hey. It could be.
Yeah, but quality on the Brickyard is pretty good. I liked it. I just think,
Same here.
I think if we get I think we got a lot of gaming people on this channel, so like they'll see like NASCAR, let's get off of that. So
yeah. Well.
So Pocono was the one we rushed and did under 10 minutes. It had 9 views, but those 9 people stayed for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Wow.
So they was there
for
the longest on that one.
Who won at Pocono?
Kyle Busch.
Oh, that's right, the first one. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot that race, to be honest.
It's kind of a good thing.
I know.
So podcast number 6, Watkins Glen, had 15 views. View duration is 10 seconds. So back to being terrible.
Damn.
That one was when my mic did this stupid thing and made me like super loud. So maybe there's like, oh, you're killing me, and then yeah.
And what you also have to keep in mind is that season 0 is A, the beginning, and B, had a lot of issues, like not just internal issues, but with YouTube itself.
Yeah.
So
the channel is like getting kicked between the legs every day by YouTube. Like,
yeah.
Like every
2
time,
times an hour, 5 times a day.
Every time I get up, there it goes again. It's been a continuous cycle for 3 years. So Michigan, it leads in all views with 30 views, with
wow,
view duration of 1 minute. So, which that one had a cool intro. So maybe people like intros. Well, they got an intro song, so they seem legit. Then podcast 8, which for some reason it jumped up to 70 views, and then it went down to 19. So that's what I want to keep it at.
What was podcast 8?
Bristol.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's where we sweeped all the garbage into one podcast.
So wait a minute. The podcast with the most views by far was the one where they couldn't hear me?
No, it was, but I think it was like misclicks. Now it's like second best.
Oh, okay.
But the average view duration is
still the second best.
The average view duration is a second, though. So.
Well, I think that's YouTube's problem again, because you're telling me that a lot of people watched like the previous podcast, for at least I'd say half a minute.
Yeah.
And then like for one whole podcast, like not even at all.
Yeah.
Problem there.
But
that's
our
a problem with YouTube.
Average views though is 18.
Oh wow.
That freaking number.
Well.
But yeah, if you look back at our podcast, we've had the first podcast had audio issues. The second podcast was basically a rerun. The third podcast was okay. The fourth podcast had silence. The fifth podcast we kind of jumbled up together, didn't really care about it. The sixth one was bad and loud, and Michigan was okay, and Bristol was completely a crap show. So yeah, So we've only had like 2 decent podcasts. I don't think we've had one that's like completely what we can do. I don't think we're running at our best because we're still trying to figure out everything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
It's a process.
It's a process that we need to really help it with. So going from here on to Darlington on to Homestead, I want to make sure we can actually have decent podcast, if not good podcasts. Ones that you can actually hear both of us.
I know.
It's right now the views and comments aren't really a big thing. I just really hope we can actually make good content that I think is worthy of views. So, which we'll do like
fun to make too. So,
yeah,
you know.
they are. And we're going to do like a review podcast at the end of the year. So that's where we'll talk about the entire year all together, and we'll do like we'll do like the shirt giveaway if there is one, and I believe that's all we have, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, we'll see you at Darlington, post-race Darlington, Southern 500. Hopefully a throwback paint scheme wins, because that's crap if one didn't. Have some cool edits in mind for that one, so stay tuned, and we'll see you then. It's Incredicast signing out.